All right, all right. Look at us. It's another Tuesday. We're back on LinkedIn talking about senior care. Let's get after it, Anna.
Yeah, I am ready.
Let's go. Yes. Well, hey, officially kicks off August. Here we are, our first August LinkedIn Live, huh?
I know summer. I can't believe it's already like time for back to school. Summer's over. I feel like summer flew by this year.
Absolutely. I'm already thinking of college football. It's the fall, it's cold, things like that, which I love. But we're still just getting started with August. Feels like we're in hyperdrive here.
Say it's definitely not cool
Yeah.
anywhere right now.
That's very true, especially hot and out here in the wild world of Omaha, Nebraska. We just got past our heat wave and are now in kind of the weird, fluctuating, rainy world of this part, I guess, of the weather pattern. What better time than to stick inside talking about educational material and helping people understand what they need to do to rise above some common challenges in the senior care space?
Say I think this is a perfect time for people to learn about this. Back to school, new goals. So, yes, we can go ahead and dive in on our some home care challenges and how to conquer them.
Mhm. I love it. And there's so many opportunities to talk about best practices, about the opportunities, challenges, things like that. Um, if we were to talk about literally everything, it would take days to get through all this information. And so, what I think we've done here and what has been expressed at a place-at-home-franchise.com on our blog section is maybe three of the primary challenges that we hear about at a place at home, that I hear about on the phones, that we then coach our franchisees through as they open their business. So we're going to talk about, boom, three home care challenges and how to rise above them, right? Not all of them, just the biggest ones, right?
Right. I think anybody who knows not even home care, just healthcare would make it that broad. Healthcare
Yeah.
knows that caregivers recruiting and retention is always the number one top of mind for everybody.
Mhm,
So, you got any insight for those that are like, man, I really want to help, but
mhm.
how do I get caregivers? I feel like that's always the question.
It absolutely is. And for good reason. This is how your business will grow. This is how your impact spreads. Making sure you have a quality team on the front lines doing the good work of helping our seniors stay independent just needs a lot of hands, right? Just needs a lot of people to get that done. Um, and so, some insights here, some things to think about. Um, one of the things that I want to share with everybody on this call, and when you talk to me individually through a process like this, it's we get into this world of really questioning how we're going to build our teams. There often comes time where we start to use terminology like it's impossible to hire people, right? And I want to be very clear here. My first insight, my first piece of advice to you is that no, hiring your caregivers is not impossible. If it were, we would have a very different conversation on the phone. If it were, our industry wouldn't exist. If it were, you would not have any experience with senior care in your life because it's impossible, literally can't be done. And it sounds like you're going to roll your eyes. Like Mitch, it's just a figure of speech. And I agree with you, but that figure of speech gives us an energy in our brains and in our spirit and in the way that we think about our future and how we can help those around us. That kind of cataclysmic, absolutely hyperbolic, impossible language. Let's take a look at that, right? Because it is a challenge. I'll meet you halfway, more than halfway. It's challenging, but it's worthy, right? It's challenging to find pilots in our airplanes. It's challenging to find people climbing, electrical poles to help us with civil engineering in our homes. All right, it's difficult in many ways, but it is not impossible. And so when we know that it's not impossible, we can go into other insights that we share with our candidates, like the specific areas of the recruitment funnel that tend to give franchisees in this space a lot of trouble, right? I want to talk about the first, maybe initial pain point is contacting those folks interested in interviewing with your company, right? When you just start out, when you're hiring caregiver number one, when things are slow in your business, it tends to be easier to hop on the phone, give that person a call relatively quickly after you see that they're interested in your business, right? And set up an interview, right? Number one, two, three, four, five calls like that can happen without a whole lot of change to your day-to-day business, right? But when we're talking a robust business, when you're making multiple calls like this a day, when it becomes more of your time than what you can spend elsewhere, right? We need to utilize technology to make the recruitment process of caregiving easier. And that's what we've done at a place at home, right? What we're focused on is bringing technology and multiple job boards together in a single, easy to use software platform that is easy to respond to and easy to follow the pipeline of recruiting caregivers all the way through onboarding and their first shift. You can save this kind of time by collecting all of your online billboards and bringing folks interested in your business to the point where you can contact them easily without going to a million different places. You save time, you hire more caregivers, you help more people. Right? To us, this is a really big place right in the beginning, right? And then Anna, like you've got people hired, right? Then we're done deal. Recruitment is done, retention will just happen, right?
Right. If only it was that easy.
If only it was. And there's a lot of folks who know this, right? Recruitment is the costly part of this cycle, right? But it costs so much because retention efforts are typically overlooked, right? The focus of making sure, right, folks stay happy and productive in your business ought to have the same level of dedication, right? And so what we look for, and what I've heard across our franchise system, is career advancement opportunities are a big draw for caregivers working in your business. I have some franchisees who, when they're looking at certain roles in their office, will only look at their caregiving pool for folks ready to step up into an administrative role. Right? That experience carries very well in many of our office roles and gives that individual a path forward in this business. When we know where we're headed, when we can understand what our opportunities could be in the future of this business, you tend to be retained longer. You tend to stick with that business longer than if it were never discussed, vague, unclear, right? Or even misleading in some competitors, right? This is a huge way to make sure that all of this work recruiting great caregivers benefits you, your business, the caregivers themselves, and your clients in the long run. Focus on retention, and that's a way to overcome that first challenge, right? And does it work? Are we actually practicing what we preach? We are, because we see that half of our locations, more than half of our locations, have earned Home Care Pulse's Employer of Choice Awards, right? Huge annual award that's big, right, for our franchisees, something that they get to show to new recruits, saying, look, we've been vetted by a third party saying that we're an employer of choice. We're excited to extend that environment to you when to come join the team, right? It's the proof in the pudding, you know.
Yes, like I think that's huge, especially for any agency to be able to say that they were employer of choice, let alone for a place at home to have so many different places truly makes it, we care about our caregivers.
It's huge. Well, and from a marketing perspective too, if you and I can put those hats on, or if I can put your hat on, right? Investing in achieving that kind of award for any industry can really help then your recruitment no matter what you're doing, right? Make sure that you can be vetted positively and share a quick symbol of employee satisfaction to anybody entering your pipeline to become an employee for your business. Do that, invest in it. It's worthy. It makes an impact on those employees. It's a good thing to do. I'm sure that you'll see the benefits of it down the line.
Absolutely. And I know our owners here, once you're in our system, are always willing to share tips and tricks, especially in regards to this, as those caregivers are pretty close to their hearts.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I hear, how many times have you heard Aubrey, our franchise business coach, say in so many terms, the only reason we have a business is because of our caregivers, right?
Yep.
I've heard, I mean, I can hear her saying it to me right now, right? That's so true. It is. And when we kind of use that as a reverence towards those folks doing this great work of helping our seniors, or if you're in another industry, that person who delivers the final service to that person asking for it or needing it, but when you kind of treat that with reverence, it it will it will be a part of your culture, and folks will become magnetized and flock to it. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, kind
Yeah.
of though, shifting from our caregivers. So, we've got caregivers, we've solved that issue.
Right.
Now, the next thing we need to is another part of everybody's favorite is compliance and regulation between state, federal, local. How do you know, like, just because you start it one year, what happens? Things change. How do you stay on top of that?
Mhm. I'm already getting stressed out hearing you talk about it. Which I feel many folks entering into entrepreneurship tend to think of as well, right? When we work for somebody else, I'll put it plainly, right? We don't really, we're not really concerned with the legalities, with the regulation, with compliance of our work. It's not our job, right? Well, when we own that business, all of it becomes our job, right? And that's exciting. That's invigorating for a lot of people. Even those folks most motivated to take on all of that responsibility start to get a headache when they think about certain aspects of the business. Compliance and legal is one of those, right? Um, but any attorney, any legal expert you talk to, will tell you a lot of things, and then you should listen to all of them. And one of the things they'll say is, look, if this is something you don't look at, somebody else will, or it will become a problem, and you'll have no idea that this was brewing for so long, right? It's one of those things that just always needs to be taken with a lot of care, right, and repeatable processes of looking at your compliance and regulation, being sure you're going to be good from now into the future, right? Um, when we talk about franchising, too, there's a lot of, I would say, maybe confusion amongst candidates entering franchise systems, becoming franchisees. What is their responsibility? What is their franchisor's responsibility? And what that looks like. To all those folks entering that journey ahead of them, I ask you to ask your brands that you're interested in what those specific kind of concerns might be. Reach out to franchise legal counsel and ask them what their concerns are and how to deal with that, right? Some of the biggest things I get to talk to with new candidates about their legal and compliance, maybe concerns, are primarily over licensing and how to enter into their state legally and offer senior home care, right? Well, a long story short, it depends. There's a lot of legal regulation. The atmosphere changes from state to state, all the way to a moratorium over no licenses being granted in the state at all, to we've never had a license. You can do this tomorrow, right? Uh, that I can only imagine in other industries is repeated in some way, and just that kind of patchwork legal compliance, right? But that's just getting your business started. When we start to run these sorts of things, making sure that you have competent legal counsel with you as you operate your business and protects you from what's happening in the homes of your clients, what's happening with your client, with your caregivers, what's happening with transportation of one or both of those individuals, is going to be really helpful for you. Best part is these are not impossible. It's not that somebody's just doing this for the first time. There are robust support systems available to all businesses in initial legal stages as well as continued support for legal. A place at home in the home care industry is no different, right? We talk about some of the compliance that our franchisees need to be aware of operating their business for the long term. There's a lot of states that require regular resurveys and getting the license back to them after a period of time, right? We have vendors who can help you with that. We vetted them ourselves and trust their work, right? As well as, just kind of compliance from an operational standpoint. As your franchisor, right? As any franchisor you're looking at likely has vetted those kinds of support systems and made them available to you, just like we have through various toolkits that help our franchisees maintain their compliance in their states for years to come, right? It's a big deal. I encourage everyone, right, to get past that initial sort of like kind of just pang in the back of your head or that pain right where your migraines come in, right? I get it. Makes sense. That's why we have legal counsel to help you through this. I encourage you to get past that piece. Ask your franchisor what kind of support that looks like, what you can expect, and prepare to essentially put someone on retainer, not think about it anymore. That's my
Yes,
biggest
that's
advice.
always one. Nobody ever wants to be in trouble with the government. So making sure,
No.
you know, we have our vendors internally that we work with that help our owners, and then making sure, always they're up to date on their stuff so our owners don't necessarily have to stay on top of it as much as it's, there's the support with it. It's not a, here you go, here's your state, figure it out from there. That we're
Yeah.
there to support them along the way and make sure that, we do have their steps covered to make sure they are always compliant.
Mhm. Exactly. And I think too is folks, if you and I were looking at a franchise system, we know that there's so much of that support out there too. But some of the beauty of franchising is that we own our business outright, whether or not we're being supported by a franchisor or not. With that comes some responsibilities for us. And what I hope for all franchisees that when some sort of legal question comes a knocking at your door, like you have streamlined and delegated so much of your run of the mill daily course of action legal review that when something does pop on your radar, it really does need your attention and you can get to it swiftly, right? Everything else, Mitch and Anna's Home Care LLC, we're going to send that off to the lawyers and let them work on it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Then I guess we did say there's so many challenges, but the last one we're going to talk today, you know, we've gone through the legal side that nobody wants to talk about, and we've done caregivers, but with caregivers always comes clients. It's kind of like the chicken and the egg.
Mhm,
So you got to have clients to have caregivers. So how about client acquisition and then obviously retaining those as well?
mhm, mhm. Man, what a really strong part of this conversation that I think in the past year, 2 years, maybe our industry has taken for granted, given how much of a pressure it was on the industry and continues to be to get great caregivers in positions where they can do great work. Um, Client acquisition seemed to be such an overwhelming demand that we didn't think about it, and that's wrong. You ought to consider client acquisition or retention, the strategies you have in place, and how you'll succeed here, and mainly how your franchisor can support you best, right? Um, and when I think about what a place at home does in the home care scene, right, I always try to share with people that it's two sides of the same marketing coin. Either there's digital marketing or referral marketing, right? These are the strategies we need to think of pretty much at the same time to get in front of the clients who need your help, right? And digital marketing can often target your end user who is online, right? Looking for services, looking for reviews, looking for robust YouTube channels, looking for a Facebook page that has a post more recent than 6 months ago, right? Things like this. And that doesn't even have anything to do with your business, your name, or whatever. That's just the structure of how you're represented online, right? If you can pass those initial filters, right, and those filters are high when we're looking for a service that we need real bad, right? If you can get past those gates, then your digital marketing ought to convey your message and why you're here to serve their families, right? Um, that same kind of gate mentality exists on the people side of this, the referral marketing side, getting to, in our industry, a medical professional or a healthcare individual who can then pass on a recommendation to a senior client looking for care, right? How do you get them to trust you? How do you find out who those individuals are, right? And how do a lot of individuals overcome this notion of saturation where there's too many agencies here, there's nothing I can do, there's no opportunity for me, right? Though we think of this extensively, when we target markets and help franchisees be successful in the territory that they choose, that we help them decide on, right? We just know that the demand here is huge, right? Knowing we can get in there with those strategies and help our clients get the care that they need is what gets you those initial conversations to begin with, right? And I
Yeah.
think too, you know what I mean? Like, let's get in front of all of those folks and show them what we can do.
Yeah, I mean,
But
not only, I mean, anytime anybody needs anything, the first thing you do is you're going to Google. So I
mhm,
think you made a great point about, not only just Google, but social media in general, and then making those partnerships in the community. So you also have word of mouth out there as well.
mhm. Exactly right. And they work together. I'd like to share with folks that it's two sides of the same coin. Like, let's say you heard about somebody in your market, you were at an event, and someone mentioned to you how much they loved this particular company. What's the next thing you do? Right? You go to those digital marketing channels and start to learn more about what you just heard in person, right? And if that message is in sync, right, you will find yourself in a better position to serve clients who need your care, right? That's what we're after. Other industries might acquire clients in a different way. You might be registered in some sort of, kind of lead referral program. You might be working with federal contracts with your state. In whatever way that you get in front of your clients, right? Understand what the digital impact is there, understand what your word of mouth impact is like, and how to keep those stories consistent. so that the person asking for your service is delighted at the end, right? And then let's talk about getting delighted, right? Because
Yes.
now it's the retention piece, right? I got a new customer, done deal. I can walk away, right? Well, maybe I can in sales. No, you can't. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. It's almost more important to stick with someone who has trusted you to this point to become your client, to make sure their expectations have been met after the fact, right? And here in home care, that's all about the service that's happening in their home, right? Is the Let's talk about the client themselves. Is the service up to what they had expected? Is the family happy with what's happening here? Right? Is the caregiver, in line with the expectations? Is it good for them? Does it work with what they can do? Is everybody on the same page? And if so, let's plan for when those expectations get out of whack, right? Is there a way to then fix that? How can you make it make a bad situation turn into a good one, right? What does that look like? It's going to happen for anybody in any industry. But once everyone's happy with what's happening, can you prepare for a change in that, right? Or continue to make that happen? If you do this, right? If you can do this well, based on your relationship with everyone in that system, right? My expectation is that a positive feeling emerges, a better situation can happen for everyone, and you retain that client even through the bumps along the way, right? Easier said than done, but it's worthy. It's something to prepare for if you want to make sure that just at the first sight of bad weather, your ship doesn't sink. You can continue to work with that client even if something goes wrong.
Right. And then now we kind of circle back around. So we've got the client, we've kept them, they've had tremendous care. So now you can circle it back around to the digital side of it and ask them, to leave a review about the tremendous care you provided. So your
Mm-hmm.
clients are kind of like a full circle from start to finish, keeping them engaged still.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Thank you for drawing the picture, right? It really is a circle. And I think maybe if I could add, Mitch's bonus challenge and how to overcome it, right? You've asked someone for something this entire time, right? You've asked for a caregiver to trust you and to work with you and to trust that you will have a shift for them that puts them in a great position to do great work. You've asked a client to trust you that the other part of that's going to happen, right? Where your caregiver is going to be there. You've asked someone in the middle, a healthcare professional, to trust you in your business enough to refer it, to put their name on a referral to someone else. And when all of that works, sometimes we feel like all of our asking, which can, start to drain our bucket, even for the most outgoing individuals, we think it's over, right? And we can recharge at that point. It's not quite, because if we have a positive experience, I'm going to ask you again, ask that person to share that experience, right? Can you do this? Can you help somebody else who isn't yet there see what's been true to you, which is a positive experience? Can I share that in a review sense? Can I put that in the world? And if that review would come back less than stellar, right? If that feedback is not positive, rather constructive, right? Fairly pointed as sometimes it comes across, can you ask for that too, right? Ask for it all. Now you have an opportunity to improve that business, solicit that feedback so that you can celebrate someone who's doing what you want more of, right? Or develop a constructive path to change behavior that needs to be updated, right? All of that asking can seem to be a very daunting task for a new entrepreneur who kind of felt like, look, I didn't have to ask for a whole lot in my job working for somebody else. They asked me, I said yes, and I just did the thing, right? That's okay. When we run our own business, that changes. You ask for just about every of it. So I ask you to consider this as a way forward, as a challenge that exists in home care, but is true in any business where we need to go out and get it. It's not sent to us. It's not just in line with what we do. We need to get in front of people who need our service and tell them about it, right? That's Mitch's fourth challenge. Asking folks can drain our bucket, even for the most outgoing entrepreneurs, but rise above it by knowing that this helps everyone, taking breaks when you need to, but realizing that the asking is never done, even if it comes back negative, because now we have a chance to improve.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I think we're almost up at our time for the day already.
Look at that. How about it? Yeah.
Who knew 3 topics would
3
last us
topics.
so long?
And a bonus, right?
Right.
But I'm really impressed with all of the information out there right now. giving folks looking at the senior care space honest feedback about what it is and what we can do here. So when our expectations are clear, like the blog at aplaceathomefranchise.com, talking about these 3 home care challenges and how to rise above them, our expectations can be on par, right? And we can hit the ground running, serve with a strong expectation, and give people the care that they need, right? So head over there to that website and check it out. PlaceatHomeFranchise.com has even more information about these challenges. I know we're talking about them, we're thinking about them. Use this as a resource to vet the industry as a potential opportunity for you.
Absolutely. And then be sure to click either on the link or comment on the feed to get in touch with Mitch and how you joined the A Place at Home family.
Absolutely. Man, if you thought I was good on video, I'm better without the video. All audio. That's how I'm talking about it. No, but I absolutely would. There's a lot of great folks in positions to talk to you about their brands, about what they can help you with, and what the experience is like of folks who said yes before. Reach out to them, spend time with them, talk with those folks. And again, Mitch's bonus, ask them for information that will help you make your decision on how to break into entrepreneurship in the franchise space, right? And I think honestly, Anna, that kind of like leads into what we're talking about next week, right?
It really does. Everybody needs to come back next week.
Certainly does. We got specific on what kind of stands in the way as a challenge of folks entering the home care space. But one of those things too could be franchising in and of itself, right? Franchising isn't the right fit for everyone, right? Why is that? Tune in next week to hear me, of course, Mitch Benson, the franchise development manager here at Place at Home, talk with our president and co-founder, Jared Evanich, about that very same topic.
Yes, making sure you find the right franchise fit for you. And I'm sure we'll throw in some bonuses about why you should, talk to us.
Yeah, and you happen to become our franchisee, then it's going to be sweet for you too. So how about that?
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I think we'll let everybody get back to their day, and we will see them all again for kind of a part 2 for
I'd say
next
so.
week.
Yeah. Thanks everybody for joining the call today, and thank you, Anna. Appreciate it. And now back to our day.